Yeah, so we're continuing from where Wale stopped yesterday, creating the Azure Cosmos DB account. So far, we've created a blob storage, we've created a data lake storage, and we've created a Databricks compute for a platform for the requirements that AdventureWorks have made. And one of the requirements we'll be meeting today would require the creation of a Cosmos DB account. And so far, there's not much time with us, I would have asked how we are faring, if we've been able to grasp one or two things here. So one of the things that I really want to bring to our minds when we are preparing for this exam, we need to take note of the order. We need to take note of the order with which we are creating all this or provisioning these technologies to meet the requirements. So one of the things you will have to do, you would need to order steps. Some of the questions you would answer would be to order the steps to which you would provide a solution. So for instance, what would you do first? They want this prediction capability. They want to be able to predict on Azure Databricks the data they have in their on-prem SQL data warehouse, and they want to predict that data to do prediction works and all that on Azure Databricks. But what are the things that needs to be done, and in what order? So for instance, you need to first deploy a data lake account. You need to set up an app. I hope you are following.
Yes, you're fine.
Hello, guys. Yeah,
yes.
You need to set up an app or register an application for that data lake, and then you need to add row. You need to add a row for it, and then based on the credentials you have, you can now create a data lake workspace and create your cluster. You see these steps now. These are various steps. You need to know what and what should follow each other when you are addressing a problem. When you are addressing a problem, you need to, because that's a major portion of the exam. So I can't just go and create part of it will now be then run. Maybe after you deploy your cluster, you can then create a notebook, and then run script, add your script and run. So for instance, now, what's the steps to transform data on Azure Databricks? You need to first of all deploy your workspace, then you create a cluster, then you add notebook before you start your work. So these are steps that you need to really, really understand, and so that when you are taking the exam, you will be taking your exams with confidence. And you are very sure that you are not disordering things, but you understand what exactly you are doing. Right, so like I said, we would be creating Azure Cosmos DB. So you search for Cosmos, Azure Cosmos DB. Select create. Once you select create, you need to specify this, the resource group. We have one we've been using. Okay, then the account name. I think Wale, we used Kemi yesterday, right?
Yes, we did.
So I've been following everything from my end. And then the API is core SQL, and then notebooks, review of. Then, okay, we leave all other settings to default setting, geo redundancy, account type. This is non-production, that's a development environment. And then the free tier, this is a paid tier. Okay, then multi-region rights. Multi-region rights. So Wale, this is where you are now talking about consistency level, availability zone. Okay. So if, for instance, if I do a multi-region right, this rights capability allows you to take advantage of provision throughput for your database and containers across the globe. But then your trade-off will then have to begin. All right, okay. So we can click on create, review and create. Then we are ready, create. All right, so guys, while that is ongoing, we move to exercise 2. So we are to insert and query data in our Azure Cosmos DB, and this should take us 20 minutes. Wale, please, can you be our timekeeper for tonight? Yeah, Wale?
Yes, I'm just going to set my alarm. So 20 minutes, right?
Yes, yes. Okay. So the main task here is we should set up a Azure Cosmos DB database and container, then add data using the portal, run queries in Azure portal, then run complex operations on our data. So here is the task 1. Let's see how many
task is
exercise. Oh, we have 3 exercises. Then we can distribute data globally with Azure Cosmos DB. Yeah, Wale, what did you say?
the first task is 20 minutes, right? The next one is the next one after it is 10 minutes, Abi?
Yeah. So let me do this. Okay. And then we have this. Great. Nice. All right. The Cosmos DB is still deploying. Still deploying. Okay, so we have to go to Azure portal once this is complete, and then add a container. Okay, so I might have to reshare my screen so that we can see screen 1. Okay, guys, so please let me know when you can see my screen. Still deploying. It's taking much time.
It takes about 10 minutes, Daniel. Cosmos DB takes a while.
Okay. I would have created that before now, so that it will be deploying and all that. So while that is creating, guys, let me ask. So what do you guys understand so far about consistency level? Yeah. Yep. Hello, guys. Nathan, Wale.
Don't know. I'm not. Nathan will answer. So.
Okay. Maybe you should, Wale. Maybe you should try first.
Okay. So, the way I understand it is that first of all there are two, extremes of conditions that you can set. So ranging from what do they call it, strong to, what's that one again, to eventual, so based on this, if you have a strong consistency, you'll be expecting to get, let's say you have a database in multiple regions. If you have strong consistency, you'll be having real time. You should be expecting real time updates whenever there's a change in, I think, the.
Okay. Yeah. Hello.
Close to real time. We have one that is at the other extreme of the spectrum, which is eventual. You might experience a bit of lag. Then also, after the session, I went to recovery point, objective, and recovery time. So there's also a difference based on the consistency level you select. So you can, so depending on the recovery time that you want that for your application, some of them have ranges, like some have 15 minutes, especially if you have multiple so if you have multiple masters or single masters, they have different time frames for their recovery, what do you call it now? Recovery objectives.
Yeah.
There are two different recovery objectives. So the thing is, you can now, for most scenarios, so get a balance between the trade-off. So there's a trade-off in that spectrum. To get a balance between the real-time updating and other performance metrics. Most of the time we stick to the middle of the spectrum and pick session consistent. So that for most day-to-day data engineering tasks, that's that's like a balance. That's like the balance point for, yeah.
Okay.
So those issues is just it select the range that you need for your application, based on different performance. I think I mumbled that, but that's how I understood it. Yeah.
All right, Nathan. Thank you, Wale.
Okay. Yeah.
Hello, Nathan.
Yes, Daniel.
Yes. So you got my question, right?
Yes, like you ask about consistency level, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'll try it. That. Okay, first of all, I would say the consistency level, like maybe it can be considered as the minimum number of nodes that must knowledge or like you can read or write
Mhm.
at the operation before, like you can read or write like before the operation, like for it to be successful.
Okay.
So for that one, like if I'm trying to get like an example like which I can illustrate that way in my explanation. So
Okay. Um, this is still deploying. Okay. So I think from what you both have said is trying to consistency level is all about the availability of data around all regions of your Cosmos DB. And we talked about different consistency levels, strong, up till we also have the last one there is a session eventual, and then so this consistency levels are all about how current the data in each region would be. So, and we talked about the fact that there are some changes that could have been made to the DB, a new write some nanoseconds ago. So the difference here are not like in seconds or in minutes, they are probably in nanoseconds, like unnoticeable seconds. Yeah, so this time it takes to write to 1 dB and replicate to all can vary depending on the consistency level. So if it is eventual, it simply means at a later time that would be deployed. Okay, so finally we have our available. Okay, so on overview, so we are to create a new container from here, and then we would call that so it's opening. So Azure Databricks has its own Explorer. So you basically work from the Explorer. Okay, database ID, we'll call it products. Then the throughput 400, container ID clothing. Then partition key would be /product ID. Okay. So we'll leave every other thing as it is default. Okay. Then click on OK. So the next thing now is to add data to the container we just created right now. And we'll still do that using the query. Sorry, I think I can reduce this. Yep. Okay. Great. Yeah, guys, please let me know if you're not understanding. Hello, guys.
Yes, then.
With you, Daniel.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So we have to go to the Explorer. So I need to open this in full screen. Okay. It's already there. Oops, sorry. Sorry, sometimes I find it difficult to scroll. Okay. Yeah. So in this portion, we are to click on the refresh icon and expand products, clothing, and click on items, which we have done. And then we are to click on new item. So that a new document appears, and then we'll now replace with this. Sorry, I'm finding it difficult to new item. Okay. I have to open this link here. I'm finding it difficult scrolling there. Okay. So we've done this so far. Then we have to save the item and we'll then add another one. Sorry. Save. Then we add new item. We save. So if you can see, we have 2 items here already. And these are the product IDs. If you check here, this is the product ID of the second one. So, sorry guys, who can remind us why we are creating the Cosmos DB? Hello, guys. Hello.
Yeah, forgotten the what do you call it? The data requirements for this role. I think it was for products. I'm not sure. Let me just check that again. Yikes.
Okay. They had the requirement for localizing content. They had the requirement for localizing content and making that content available in different languages and almost real time. But okay, maybe I should allow you guys to read it up, to freshen up memory. Okay, so
Blob 4.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just reading the overview again.
Okay.
Because in the instructions for the lab, right? I don't think they mentioned it there yesterday. Oh, okay, the scenario. Okay. Can see.
Yeah.
Okay, real time. Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
And I read it out yesterday. Yes.
Oh, you did.
So are we done with task 2? Because the alarm is up.
Task 2. No, that should be exercise 2.
Yeah. Okay. Well, 20 minutes is up. So I'm going to set, what's the next task now? How long is that one supposed to take?
And that should be 15 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay. I'm going to, I'll start it when you start the next one. We're still on this one, Abby.
Yes.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll start it when you start.
All right, so I think we've done this. We've applied the filter and then we have this result. Where do I have this? Sorry. We're supposed to have yeah, I'm not here. Okay. This is where we're supposed to have our query, then execute query. Then we'll have this result here. So this is basically to select everything, all columns, all attributes of products where product ID is equal to 1. Yep, so You can operate a Cosmos DB from this data explorer here and basically write your SQL queries and see the results. So you can also write another query that helps you to select the product ID, manufacturer ID, and the description. The product ID in the manufacturer and the description from product table, where the same product ID is 1. And then you would have the following results here. And then the same, you can select price, description, and all that. And you can do order by. You can do order by price in an ascending manner. So if you see ascending, it's coming this way. That means the first price will be smaller, or the first value will be smaller, and the next one greater. It's ascending that way. And if it's descending, you probably start with the greatest value, then the next, the smaller one, then smallest, that way. Yep, so we can also run complex operations on our data here. So basically, we can add a new stored procedure to our. I hope you know what stored procedures are. So let me ask, who here has worked with a stored procedure?
Yes, I used to create some for some of the apps we built.
Okay. Nathan, you said? Hello, Nathan. I didn't get Nathan. I didn't get Nathan. Wale, did you get him?
Not at all.
So we can add a new stored procedure. So basically it has a default one. Yeah, and you can just copy all and replace with yours. Yes, so basically this is creating a function, my document with the following here. You can basically call that function later. Create my document, and then it will do what it's needed. So basically, a stored procedure and say work more like your function in your code. It's more like your code basically for C#, Java, but this time around you're walking around and manipulating data. So sometimes you create function in your stored procedure to do some cleaning or some trimming, or maybe some custom function on your data. So we've added that stored procedure, and we are to save it and then execute. Hope we don't have any error here. Body. It's not giving us option to save. Okay. Yeah, the type and create document. So this top procedure is to create a document. Then we can save stop procedure and then can execute it. So because it's a function, it's asking you for a value anytime you run it. Okay. So let's add our value. We're going to set this one. We are adding a new one. Testing our stop procedure. Now we set the type to string and then we add this value. I think that's basically one. It's just one. We are supposed to. But if you have other value, you can add them. It has finished executing. And here's the result. It added this one here. You have the same result we are supposed to get. And then, so you can also add a user-defined function. A user-defined function, and then probably add your own function. Maybe there are some things you want to achieve with your code. You can do that from here. So yes, probably you are trying to calculate tax from the price of each goods. So you can create a function that does that here. And mind you, you can do the same thing with inside. You can do the same thing inside your stored procedure. I'm supposed to be able to edit this now. Okay. I'm wondering why I can't. I seem not to be able to replace this code. I'm finding it difficult to do so. Let me see if I can do it from here. New DF. So I can do it. No, please. So I can just copy this guy. Save. It's saying one already exists like that, so I can just change the name. Yep. Okay. So guys, basically you can just play around this, trying to know it more, and then you can change query. Look at the task you did. In the query, you can basically call your user-defined function like this inside your code or inside your query, and execute it, and then you have that result. All right, so on to any questions so far, guys?
No question. Okay. For me. Nathan.
Yeah, Nathan. Hello, Nathan.
Yes, Daniel. I'm saying no question, like I'm following, like it's clear.
So this next task, in 15 minutes, we are supposed to replicate this data to multi-region. And to do that, we are to go to our Cosmos DB Data Explorer. Then
Okay, I've started the time.
okay. So I can exit now. Just refresh. So under Data Explorer, we do not have replication here. So replicate data is under settings. You find replicate data globally. And if you want to do that, you enable here. So by default, you are given 400 RUs, request units per second, on the account you created. But when you are replicating to multiple regions, you would have to add more RUs. Okay, so to replicate globally, so we have to select any of this location we have here, any of this location. So and it will take, if you are trying to replicate, it will take about 7 minutes. 7 minutes more to do that. And then managing a failover, in case something else happens, what should happen to your data center? So should they move? Should the request coming to that one, should it be routed to another region? Or so basically you need to specify that. Okay, so let's say we select here other 2 region, and then we have to save what we've done. So while that is ongoing, you can also try to set up automatic failover for that. So automatic failover now is about backup solution for in case requests are coming. How should that be handled and all that? For instance, you have let's say for instance you have a web app that is accessing data from your Cosmos DB, the images and everything that is that it needs to feed the website, and say the guys in Germany, the Cosmos DB database you replicated to Germany, it failed over. How do you attend to such need? Because your web app is configured right now to get data from that point to feed to maybe provide or give the guys in Germany different their own localized view where they are. So stuff. How do you handle that? It needs to be specified in your failover, and you can do that manually or automatically here. Okay. Then that's basically it for lab 4. While I'm waiting for geo replication. And if you can see, you can see how many regions are available here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. So apparently there are about 33 regions that you could replicate to. And it's just one in Africa. So most of the time I do comparison. For instance, this is Nigeria, this is South Africa, this is where it is. And I'm here in Nigeria. Which is closer? Is it the one here, or this one? So you need to do that. I'm not sure if there's any calculator right now for Microsoft that actually does that kind of calculation, the distance between data centers. So how far away?
I'm not sure there is either.
Yeah.
Because what I usually do is to compare the prices based on the closest one. Yeah.
Well, another thing, it's not just price, it's probably time latency to get your data when you are performing a read or a write. Time to read, time to write. That will also be determined again by how further away the region is from where your app is deployed. So if you're looking for high speed, then the data center has to be close to the region where your app is deployed. So maybe having an application on Azure that, or maybe part of Azure price calculator that can help a client determine distance between where their app is and where the data center actually is. All right. Guys, any questions so far?
Not from me. Nathan just logged out.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I think network again.
Probably. You can go ahead, Sean. Since it's being recorded.
Yes. Okay, while that is loading, say lab 5. So we had to work with relational data stores in the cloud. So here we would use Azure Database and Azure Synapse, and then we'll create and query Azure Synapse Analytics, and then use PolyBase to load data to Azure Synapse Analytics. I think this really promises to be exciting. Wale, have you gone through on your own?
This particular one, no.
I've always looked forward to PolyBase.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always looked forward to PolyBase. Yes, so you wanted to say something?
I think in the learning path, right, I've gone through it, but this lab, I haven't, so.
Oh, okay. Okay. To deploy. So while that is ongoing, let's create a SQL database. We are to okay. Sorry. Okay. So we are just to use this sample database. So let's create a new resource. SQL database, Azure SQL. Azure SQL database, SQL Analytics, and then we'll use sample. You can either have the database server, elastic pool, or a single database. So here we are we are supposed to use the single database. Okay. So our resource group is the one we've been using before. I'm supposed to be able to do Okay, we don't have this. Then I'll create a server. What can we use as our server name now?
DP200 SQL server.
No, we have server name.
Okay.
Oh, it already exists. We've been using Kemi since. In login, should be in this format. Oh, sorry. Please check. So that's the password. Right. Any application in your mind? I think US Central is probably best for us. So, okay. Now server is ready. Data. What name can we use now? It's a SQL database. So under additional setting, we've added Adventure Works. Yep, and we are good to go. So let's create estimated cost per month. Hello, Ale?
I'm here.
Yes,
I can't say. Are you trying to do the cost calculation? Well,
No, I
I
thought
can't
the
see.
estimated price.
Where is it? I'm still seeing your SQL, create SQL database page.
Yeah?
Can you try like to put five like just for testing?
I didn't hear anything.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
No, I'm saying so about the storage. So do they give like the default one, or maybe you can choose like the one you want, or like anyone like any GB you can put.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we in this SQL database sample here, we are to use a sample. We are to use a sample, and it's called Adventure Works LT. AdventureWorks database.
Okay.
So I think he's talking about the size, right? So
Yeah.
okay, are you saying we cannot in this case we're not able to select the size of the database? Because I'm not sure if that's what Nathan is asking.
Yes, you can. You can
Okay.
actually.
So I think that's where you configure database there. Just down here where you configure it down here.
See, for instance, as I said, like storage, like SQL. So this security gets added automatically. So here, so you can configure it from here. Can you see my screen? Hello?
Hello,
Yes.
I can only see
You
your
can
create
see
SQL
the
database page for a while now. Probably is my network, I'm not sure.
Okay. So I clicked on create new. I clicked on create new storage. These are the different storage, backup and site recovery. We have Azure Data Box and storage account. I'm supposed to have SQL. So this is what I'm saying. I'm going back just so you can see. Once you click on configure database, it brings you here. You have business critical, you have, but for general purpose, the default size you would get is 32 gigabytes. But you can increase it. The max is 1 terabyte, and you can also increase your vCores. Hello, do you understand me?
yes, Daniel.
Yeah,
Actually,
exactly.
even that's where my question of where it was going. Like I was asking about like the JB, because it might be good.
I didn't get that.
Like I'm saying, you're like when you reach at this point, like
Yeah.
you answered that question, the one I asked like previously.
Okay. So for every one you create, you have to take note of the size of the log space created. Logging transactions, activities going on the storage. If you see hyperscale, and hyperscale has just one replica, you can increase the replication to 2 to 4 and so on. And then by default, you have 408 gigabyte memory for hyperscale. But then For business critical too. Yep. So Wale, have I been able to answer your question?
Yes, yeah. Yes, actually, perfectly.
All right. So of course, if you need other stuff, transparent data encryption, it's configured by default. Advanced data security, you can add that, you can configure it here. You can do auditing, automatic tuning, then you can do geo-replication and dynamic data masking. You are going to see this question in your exam, dynamic data masking. And for you to do that, you just need to specify the colon you want to mask. For instance, I want to mask address, say email address. How is it going to be? What's the mask function? You need to specify the mask function. So for instance, I want to add mask. Sorry. I think this should load. I need to ensure my system is not hanging. For instance, it checks their default masking could do here. I can discard. Of course, I can do that from here. If you want your own mask. Then we are supposed to create Azure Synapse Analytics. Okay. Sorry. Like my neck is so magic here. Okay. And okay. Then back to what we're doing here. So we're done creating the SQL. So the next one here is to describe Azure Synapse Analytics. And so we are to create and configure Azure Synapse Analytics instance, and then configure the firewall, and also post the firewall, the warehouse database. You can pause it, you can resume. So we'll create a resource here. Just type Synapse. So Azure Synapse Analytics, and then create. So we have another sample for Adventure Works. So we then have to create another server for it. And not the same SQL server, because the SQL server might not have the capacity to handle the request that that a data warehouse server would handle. So we would create a new server. Okay, then we have the login. So we are just using these names so that if I'm trying to access it, I can remember. Then the password. Then we use the Central US. So I'm sticking to Central US here because when I created a Databricks instance earlier on, and I was trying to create a cluster with the specifications I had issues creating the cluster. I kept on having errors coming there, and the error I was getting was because they did not have that instance at the region I selected. So I had deployed the workspace in that region. Remember, you have to deploy workspace first before you create your cluster. So I deployed workspace in that region. Meanwhile, the region has no capability to create, or there were no such clusters that you could create in that region. So it was always failing. Then I need to change the region and where I deployed my workspace, and I was able to create my cluster. So sometimes when you are deploying to a region, you need to know what's available there and if that region would be good for your purpose of creating. Okay. Allow Azure access to access server. Okay. So weird. For now, I think they will need to configure firewall. But for this we'll need, so this is 1000 DW. The data warehouse consumption, we'll need to bring it down to 100. Okay. Yep. So we can then have to configure the firewall now. If you're using a public access, then you need to specify firewall. Need to specify what range of IPs to add. So this costs $1.51 US per hour. Guys, I think this is expensive. So imagine how many hours you have in a month and how you probably have 730 hours in a month or 731, and you're going to spend this times that 731 hours. Then times 12. But remember what our specification was. It was even 100 data warehouse consumption unit. Imagine if we were using more, like 1,000 or 400. Okay. So this is deploying. Then when we are done, when it's done deploying, we can now set the firewall. So hello guys. Hello.
Yes, Daniel.
Yes, Daniel.
So what do you guys understand the concept of a firewall? Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Firewall basically allows or designated IP addresses that you want, or you can also set it to allow any IP address to access your data add IP addresses that you want to access that data.
Okay.
So that firewall is what it screens those IP addresses.
Okay.
To add on what while been saying, so like a firewall is like a bridge. Like a bridge, like if you want to reach where the data is, like you need to go through a firewall first.
Okay.
So that's where you're going to give all the information.
Okay. Yep. So does anyone have idea of how Azure, maybe ways Azure or technologies Azure uses to secure access?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, do you have idea? Does anyone have idea on technologies Azure uses to manage access?
I think
So in terms of securing.
Securing. I'm not. No, I don't know.
That's one meter. I don't know.
Yeah, so we just talked about one now. We are just talking about one now. There's firewall.
Oh, okay.
So Azure uses firewall, and then it also uses network security
service, right?
group. What?
Network accessibility group.
Network security group. NSG. Okay. So Azure uses those two concepts to secure resources. Well, majorly you talk about firewall here, and then data protection services. Still deploying. Yeah, so what about data warehouse? When you hear data warehouse, what comes to your mind?
Okay. For me, I would say that data warehouse is like, let me call it a bank of data. Like some kind of like a bank of data, like where, because it's huge. That's why I'm calling it like a bank of data. Like can be like more like terabytes, even petabytes.
Okay. Thank you, Nathan. Yes, Wale. This is taking so much time. Hello, Wale. So that to create the Azure Synapse Analytics database and tables, when you're done creating the data warehouse, you can pause it. You can pause it, and then you can also come back here after. You can so basically, to access a data warehouse instance, you would have to install SQL Server Management Studio. On yours, if you haven't, you would need to do that. So I have mine already installed before now, and so I don't need to install, but basically you could go to this link to download and just click here. No, sorry, here. This is basically for the server. So you just click on this link and it will take you to immediately prompt you to download this, but I don't need it, so I'm not downloading.
But Microsoft always be selfish.
Yeah.
Microsoft, like they always be selfish.
They always do what?
They always be selfish about their product. They only make their product only available for Windows. Like for people who use Linux or using iOS, like MacBook, like they don't have access to their product. So they want everyone to use their
to use
operating.
Windows.
Not fair. Because for
No,
me, I
but
always have these challenges because I'm using Linux. So
oh, okay. So you might just have to access all these things on the web then, or you look for another solution. I think they should have another solution for Linux and Mac.
I think the only solution is web.
Is what?
Web.
Yeah, okay. I'm not sure if there's a web version for this, for the studio. If it is, then it's great. Great. So I can just open this guy, SQL Server. Basically, if I'm opening it, I just type SSMS and it gives me that. And I can just open it down. But if you're not using a powerful system, you can slow your system down. So we have to use these credentials to log in, SQL Server authentication. All this, and then we'll log in successfully. But when we do that, we would see Azure AdventureWorks data warehouse, the default data warehouse. Yep, so we are done. Ooh. Yep. Okay, so we can then come here to firewalls and network, and then click on add client IP. Still loading. Add client IP. Is now responding. Okay, and then we save. So this is the IP. Save. Yes. All right, so you can basically, what I like to do when I'm here, I like to check all the things I can do in case I run into lab during exam and you are asked to log into a SQL database on Azure and turn on data encryption. How would you do that during your lab? So once you turn it on here, you save or you leave it off. And then geo backup policy. You need to also know how to set up backup policy. Seems like I can't create that here. Then maybe data security. You can enable advanced data security on your server, but that's going to be at a higher charge, or is going to be a billing for it. Yep, and then all your logs you can check here. They are all here. If you want to see what's happening, you can set alert rule. So basically, you want to set alert. Say, for instance, this database is 32 gig. Let's say you want to set alarm such that you want people to be aware that this resource is almost finished. It's almost finished. You want to alert some persons. Then you need to be able to do that. Sorry. It won't create here because, yeah, that's why I was wondering. I was clicking and nothing was coming. To not register, it will not create because my subscription is not registered to Microsoft Insights and Microsoft.alert management resource providers. So you can basically search, let's say, application insight. You can add a new insight here. So for the one you are going to have in your lab, you would not have this issue. But basically, you can always go to alert the side pane of your database and then add alert to alert whoever needs to be aware. Okay. Yeah, so I launched this before. someone. Or are you sure this is in? Okay, yes. Sorry, we didn't change this. This is not supposed to be. I hope that's the credential we used. Hello, guys.
Yes, Daniel.
So just to be sure I'm not alone. Okay. Oof. It's throwing me out. I hope my IP has not changed. So my IP has changed. Okay. Sorry. So go to resource group. Resource group. Okay, deployed. Okay. So go get the credentials from here anyway. Okay. So things like this are probably what you might have to do. Like getting names. So it's grayed out password here. I think this should work without the password is password 5. And I'm wondering why it's not logging in. SQL admin. Okay, so the next task or list of items that we need to do or create next is to create a SQL data warehouse database while we are logged in that SQL management studio. So we can add a new query and then run this query. Just waiting this guy. I'm wondering why we cannot. I think I might need to get the normally I'm supposed to be able to get the password from here. Ooh. This is why.
So you've been trying to put the password, the one in the case study.
I've seen the problem.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not Kemi. This is why. I thought it was the one there. This is the server name and resource ID. Wondering why we are getting this. Need to copy server name with it. Yeah, we are in. So let's see. So this is it. Is one database, data warehouse. Okay, me here. I'm not sure if, okay, we have already available data. So you can just run new query from here, and then we have different queries on this platform in the code sample here. And here again, you can create a data warehouse with this capacity. So let's run this code inside. We should be able to create, sorry. Should be able to create. And let's do this from the master. So once you execute, you can create a data warehouse with 100 DW capacity, and then the 1 terabyte space. And this is taking so much time to execute. This is already 30 seconds gone. Yeah, and other things, you can create a table. So basically, you can do creation of the table using design. You can do that using design, or we can go here. Under this solution folder, exercise 3, and get this script. So from that script, we can run that script and create these tables here. Let's not just talk, let's load. I need to open this. While it's still there.
I'm here, Daniel.
All right. Okay, so for house solution now 5. Okay, task 3. Oh, great. We have all the files here. So basically, it's just for us to copy all this. And paste here. So this guy is run successfully, and you can just come here and refresh So you can do that. You can do that here or here. You see the other one we created. So this is the other one we created. This is the default one. We added the one for adventure works with all this table. But if you check this one, you would find out that it's probably empty because we didn't specify that I should create sample. We did not specify that I should create sample tables like we did when we're creating this one. So these are all their logs and all the data they have there, everything about sales and all that. So basically all we are doing here, we are creating them to build up on the labs that will follow, various labs that will follow. So and it's good if you have hands-on experience with them. So you can, let me add a new query. And then each time in the SQL Management Studio, you need to specify where you are going to be running this query to. So for instance, in this case, we are running this query on not master. If I'm creating a new data warehouse, that's when I target the master to create a new data warehouse. But if I'm running a query to, what's it saying now? It's like my IP has changed. Nah, it hasn't. Okay, so I can run this query. Yes. This is not meant to be. And you have dash. Okay, I don't need distributed. So I'm going to remove them. So let's run again. Yep. So it's been created successfully. I don't know who did this, but let me update that script. I have there. Fix. That's the solution. Then ready. Okay. So this is and so we've created these tables as we can see from here. Let's check our data warehouse to see if these tables are here. So we need to refresh to see new changes. Check the table, and they are here. Facts, products, users, fact sales, products, and then users. So these are the tables we created, and they are ready. So the next thing is the use of PolyBase to load data to our Azure Synapse Analytics. Okay. Hello, guys.
Yes, so we are actually out of time though.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why I called. So basically, we're almost done with 2 labs today. This is the last one. So I would like to give us this as maybe assignment. Then maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow is the day before the last day of the sessions. So we hope to finish our remaining labs. The labs will be lab 6 and 7, lab 8 and 9, the last day. So we should be able to finish them tomorrow and next, and then we wrap up.
So tomorrow we are going to do full labs.
Yes, no, not 4 labs.
Like 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Tomorrow is 2. Tomorrow is 2. Next tomorrow 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's not difficult. It's not as complex as that of yesterday and today. So what I would try to do is that I would create what needs to be created down. So once we are coming for the sessions, I will just show us how to create them. And so we don't have to wait for deployment and it's taking time and all.
Okay.
Yes. And would anyone volunteer to take tomorrow? I like volunteers. Wale, Nathan. Hello.
I'm not sure about tomorrow.
Okay. All right. No problem, guys. All right. So the next thing we are supposed to do is to create a database table using PolyBase from Azure Blob. But before then, we need to collect our Azure Blob storage account name and key details. You can access that here. If you come to resource groups, we created Blob and we created, so this is our Azure Blob storage, and then the one for data lake. So basically you can see everything you need here under access key. So the storage name and the key details you need here, they are all here. And then okay, so we're done. We have to copy that into a notepad. Then we can then create a new query on in our DWD or data warehouse database. That's somehow to pronounce a data warehouse database. Yeah, so you can then scope your credential. You create a database scoped credential named this. I would have loved to take us through that process, but we are already out of time. But what do you guys think?
Like if we continue,
Okay. Wale, what do you think?
Yeah, since we're almost done, I think we can just complete it.
Okay. I'm also trying to see. Okay, this is 10:33. I need to find something to eat too.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Then I
I'm
think we can
really
take it as an
waiting.
assignment now.
Yeah, then like we're going to go back like for it tomorrow, like when we're going to start a new session.
Yeah, but my major concern is that there are some things you need to have created before you get here.
Oh, okay.
All right, so let me quickly do that.
Okay.
So, blob storage. Blob storage. Then the key. I like how this guy just full my screen. We can copy connection string. Okay. So the next thing we are supposed to do here is to go here and then in objects click on this and click on new query. So here no. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I'm supposed to right click and then new query. Sorry, I'm supposed to follow a particular step here. Oh, okay. We are in Okay. In the editor toolbar in available database, click this and then create a master key in this, and then we are supposed to create a master key here. So select DWD. Okay, then we'll create a database scoped credential named Azure Storage Credential with the following details. Sorry. Use the mock ID. Then to paste the storage account key. Here. Okay. So then we are to execute. That ran successfully. Okay, so again we are to type in another code that will create an external data source named Azure Storage for the Blob storage account and the data container that we created with a type Hadoop that makes use of that storage account that we created above. And then so we'll just replace this one with our storage account, the name of our storage account. Okay. You're supposed to get this the data lake. This is the one for data lake. So we're working with Blob storage. This is the one for data lake. So I'm supposed to get the data lake storage account name. The access keys and everything is inside here. So just replace this one specifically with a data lake credential. Okay. All right, and then we are also to type in this one to create an external file that will be named text file. And then the delimited file type will be a delimited text file, a comma delimited text file. Yep. So to run these two statements against this our data warehouse, and it's run successfully. So if you check, this is this is a container name, data is a container name. So this basically saying this container in this data lake storage, or this container at this data lake storage. Yep. So then we can create an external table named dim date to external with this description. So basically, this is the code to run to create that. Then so we can just highlight this code and run it against the database, and then it will create this.
Sorry, the txt file, the txt file is within the data lake. Okay. This dim to date.
Yeah.
The dim to date text file. You've already created it inside the database, the data lake, Abi?
No. It will create it.
It will create it now.
This is yes. So you see, create external table.
Okay.